Here I am to save the day. Just kidding. Oh, yo! Really wish I could see who's here. It's Pebbles! How are you, my love? Are you having a good summer so far? Hey, Nina. Hey, Marty. Hey, Vincy Lou Who. One of these days you'll get tired of me saying that. Dang. That's better, but it blinded me. That's all right. Hey, Marty. Take the arrow. Buenas noches. What about Lee? There she is. Miss Negron. Remind me, is it Lee or Leah? You know, I asked this last time and I totally forgot. Mwah. Hey, sister. Oh, Lord, she's starting to talk like me. It's going to be a pretty cool book, too. Leah. Leah! Where's Miss Julie? I'm sitting here with a blanket all over my lap. I'm thinking I need to put a shirt on. It's been storming here though, so it's 75 here right now. But it's been raining off and on all day, and the storm just came through, and whew, 75 with the air conditioner on is cold. I'm eating grape shells, so the little girl told me I need to be eating my dinner. Well, as I told you before, I've seen them all different ways, so that's the reason I always ask. No one ever pronounces my name right either. I get Mynae and what is that other one? It's not Mynae. It's Mynae is the way you pronounce it. My real first name is Myrna, Myrna. Now that gets pronounced every which way under the sun. It's Myrna, Myra, Mina. So I feel your pain there, sister. Oh yeah, we got crazy. We got storms coming in tomorrow. They got storm alert already out. Alrighty, y'all ready to get started? This book's good. Now it's gonna be short. I'm probably gonna read. Leah, do you have a problem? Julie told us to read the first two chapters, but that's going to take me like 10 minutes and it'll be over. So I'm going to read for about 20, 30 minutes to see where we're at. And without getting into it too far, but I don't know. I may end up about chapter 7 or 8 because these are so short. These chapters are so short. So the book's not very long either. So, ladies, just keep that in mind. All right, here's the cover. It's called Cherry Poppin' Blast, the Candy Shop series. International best-selling authors J.A. Lafrance and Leah Negron. Okay. So I'll just kind of keep an eye on things. And Nina, Vinci, you guys watch if Leah, if you tell me to stop at the end of this chapter, then and I don't see you, I don't look up and see you saying it. I like the cover. Julie did a good job on that cover. But Julie, Leah, if I'm going to, if you need me to stop at the end of a certain chapter and I don't see you, my girls, one of you text me and let me know. Okay, so chapter 1, and I'm gonna have to take my glasses off for this, so I probably won't see what all you guys are saying because I can't see. I can't even see that I got 2 eyeballs up there, but I can read this just fine. All right, chapter 1, Jessa. Have you ever had a secret you kept to yourself? You know, one so embarrassing. Move that over. One so embarrassing that you can't tell anyone? I have one of those. My name is Jessa Jenkins. I am a 28-year-old virgin. And it's my choice, but my choice is something that I'm also embarrassed by. I am a teacher, and dealing with kids is one of the main reasons that staying a virgin has been so high on my priority. I need to make sure that I have stability before I grace this world with a crotch goblin. Miss Jenkins, Bobby hit me again, Jace tells me. I look up and there she is. I look up and watch Bobby going from child to child, hitting them and pulling their hair. Bobby, come here, please. I raise my voice enough to get his attention and then pick up the phone and call the office. This will be the 4th time today that the principal has removed Bobby from my class. Maybe this time they will keep him out so we can finish the day without incident. Jace, go sit in your seat, please. I whisper to him as Bobby approaches my desk and the principal comes into the class. Just as Jace turns, Bobby sticks out his foot and trips him, making him fall flat on his face. The principal doesn't need any more evidence, and he is removed from my class until further notice. My hands are so tied right now. I want to tell the kids that bullying is wrong and that we need to accept people for whom they truly are. The day finishes off, and I am left waiting with Jace for his mother to come pick him up. Finally, after an hour of waiting outside, we go to the office and try calling his mom to no answer. So we dial the man listed as his dad and get told he will be here. Jace and I read stories and wait for this man to enter. I am here to pick up Jace Maldonado. A deep voice shakes me from the coloring page I was working on with Jace. Dad! Jace yells and jumps up from the table, heading for the front of the office. I slowly raise and follow him as Mrs. Crackle asks for ID. Why the hell do I need ID to pick up my son? He growls as he holds Jace. Sir, it's so we can verify that you are who you say you are. It's for Jace's protection. I pop up and step in behind the secretary. Who are you? He barks. Dad, that's Mrs. Jenkins. She's my teacher, Jace whispers. He doesn't say anything and just stares at me. Well, okay, this isn't creepy or anything. Hey, Jace, let's go pack up your stuff so you and your dad can get going. I say and walk towards the little office that we were in. We clean up and are getting ready to head out when Jace turns and states, I'm sorry, Mrs. Jenkins. I normally don't see my dad, so he gets grumpy when someone says things like that. I lean down and make sure he looks into my face. That is not for you to worry about. Adults have weird ways of getting things across to other adults. I start to giggle as he snorts and leaves the room. Have a good night, Jay. See you tomorrow. I head out of the office and to my car before anyone else can say anything. Today was a rough day and I need a bubble bath and a glass, okay, maybe the entire bottle of beer, and let me chill. Chapter 2, Tommaso. I had to walk out of the office when I did. Who the hell ever expected a teacher to look like Jace's? Those had to be the greenest eyes that I had ever looked into. I swear by all that's holy, those eyes could pierce right through to a man's soul if he isn't careful. Buckling Jace into his seat, I start to walk around the car. As I look up, there she is again. There she is again, rushing to her car like the hounds of hell are nipping at her heels. While I watched the little Spitfire get into her car, I made a call. Luca, I need you to do me a favor. Elena must be on another one of her benders. Put the word out that I want her found and sobered up ASAP. In the meantime, I have Jace with me, so some of our business will have to be put on hold. You got it, boss. Once I find her, do you want Elena put back into rehab again for a few weeks to get her straightened out before you let her have Jace back? Just find her for now. I will decide how to deal with her later. Jace's teacher zipped out of the parking lot just as I ended the call. I know, Vincey, you are having a heyday with these. Once I got into the car, I noticed that Jace has a mark on his face. Jace, what happened to your face? At first, he didn't want to look at me, which means he is afraid to tell me what's going on. I swear Elena or one of her boy toys better not have laid a hand on my son. She will need a hell of a lot more than rehab if she has. Bobby, the class bully, was hitting the other kids and me today. Miss Jenkins kept sending him to the principal's office. The last time the principal decided to come to class to see for himself what was going on, as I turned to go to my desk, he tripped me. Finally, looking up at me, he continues, I fell face first on the floor. I must have gotten the bruise from that. Jace, does this kid bully you every day? Yes, Dad. Shit, this can't keep going on. What the hell has Elena been teaching that kid? How to be a pushover? Hell no, no kid of mine is going to be bullied. If anything, he should be the bully. I had agreed to let Elena raise him when we got our divorce. Fuck that shit. She will not be getting him back. She will either agree to take the money I offer her and sign her over custody, or something will happen to that worthless piece of ass. Does your teacher take up for you when this happens? Jason's eyes lit up at the mention of his teacher. Dad, Miss Jenkins is the best teacher ever. She takes care of all of us in class and makes sure that we all know how special we are. Can I tell you something without you getting upset with me? I pulled the car over so that I could give all my attention to my son. Jace, you can always tell me anything. I'm your dad and I will always be here for you. He smiled at me, then let out a little giggle. Sometimes when I'm in school, I like to pretend that Mrs. Jenkins is my mom. Why can't my mom be more like my teacher? Do you think my mom hates me? Is that why she is so mean sometimes? Jace, your mom loves you. She just has some problems right now. How would you feel about coming to live with me all the time? This way, your mom can get the help she needs. Watching as the emotions ran rampant on my son's face as he tried to decide how to answer me had the hairs on the back of my neck standing up. Alina is going to be lucky if I don't strangle her. You work a lot. Who would take care of me when you can't be home? Well, that's simple. You and I together will start interviewing live in nannies. When we find one that we both like and agree on, I will hire her. How does that sound? For the first time since I picked him up at school, Jace had a real smile on his face. That sounds great to me. Can we, what do you call it? Oh, yeah. Can we interview Mrs. Jenkins to be my nanny? Damn, I didn't expect Jace to suggest her. My cock sure agreed with him as it stood at half mast. Mrs. Jenkins already has a job. I doubt she'd quit teaching to become a nanny. Dad, I've heard you say more than once that you have enough money to buy anything you want, anytime you want. Make her an offer that's just too good to refuse. Sounds like another little girl I know. It seems like my son is more like me than I thought he was. Later that night, Luca called to let me know that they had found Alina. It turns out that she was in worse shape than she has ever been in. Besides alcohol, it seems she has started using some hardcore drugs. Boss, she has track marks on her arms from shooting up. Track marks on her arms from shooting up. What do you want me to do with her? Is she coherent enough for you to find out who got her started on that shit? No, she is out of her mind right now. Honestly, I don't think she even knows who she is, let alone who I am. I'll give the doc a call so he can let the rehab facility know that you are bringing her. It's after hours, so you may have to grease a few palms for them to take her. Do whatever you have to do so that they commit her. Yes, sir. You can count on me. I know to be discreet as possible. The last thing you need is this coming back on the family. Thanks, Luca. We'll talk tomorrow. Right now, I need to get Jace to bed. I called the doc, and he's going to be waiting for Luca to show up with Alina. That should keep things simple. As I hung up the phone, a pair of mesmerizing green eyes flashed through my mind. Maybe Jace is right. Could Mrs. Jenkins be tempted away from teaching to be a live-in nanny for my son? Hell, she could homeschool him, so in all reality, she would still be teaching. Something to think about, but right now, I need to take care of Jace. Chapter 3, Jessa. Mom, what do you mean John is wanted? Like, by the police? I yell into the phone as I stare out the window of my townhouse. No, the police, Jessa girl. He stole from a gang. He has to have $10 million to them in 2 weeks, she sobs hard. Mom, I thought you'd tell me that he was out of that bullshit, I growl. This always happens with my stupid brother. He gets himself into some sort of trouble and depends on me, the only working member of my family, to bail his ass out. My mom and dad are both disabled and living on social assistance, so any money they get is put towards their living. Jessa Lynn Jenkins, don't you start cursing like some heathen. My mom barks into the phone. Mom, I don't have $10 million to hand over. I barely have enough to keep myself afloat. How the hell am I going to bail him out? I whisper into the phone. Jessa, sweetie, unfortunately, this is one that I don't think the Lord himself could help John out of. My mom's voice sounds broken. I have no clue how I'm going to help my brother out, but I'm going to make every effort to try. 2 weeks, that's my timeline. Remember, tonight's homework is to practice your words and read a book about emotions, I announced to my class as they tidy up the phone. Today had been one of those quiet days. Bobby was on a 2-week suspension, and the class had stayed focused on their work. It didn't help that my mood was shit from my phone call last night, but it helped when I went off on the distracted tidbits. Miss Jenkins, are you okay? Jace asked me. The little boy's face always made me want one of my own. He made me crave having a baby, and then something would stop it like the loud cackle coming from the hall just before Jace's dad walked in. Oh, Mr. Maldonado. I know I'm screwing that name up, but I can't even pronounce that. Maldonado. You are such a sweet man. You should come by for a visit. She purrs, then bites her lip and sticks out her chest. Mrs. Landers, Luann is waiting for you in the back to help with her shoes you insist she wears. I point to the back where the little girl's spinning in circles. Her spine straightens as her eyes dart to me before she opens her mouth. Well, Mrs. Jenkins, there is a reason why you are still single. I know I can get a man. How about you? She sachets away. Jace looks to me and then to his dad, waiting for us to say something. I am completely at my wits' end with everything going on in my life, so I open my mouth. Mrs. Landers, at least when I find a man, I know I'll be his only one, not one of 20. Have a blessed day, ma'am. I watch her head drop, and I know that I will be getting written up for it within the next few days. That's how you put a woman like her in her place, son. Jace's dad chuckles, making me realize that I'm in bigger trouble than just the $10 million from my brother. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. I slap my hand over my mouth and close my eyes, fighting the tears back. Mrs. Jenkins, it's okay. I deal with women like her on a daily basis. Your assertiveness is refreshing and something I don't see very often. He smiles at me as he sits down in one of the tiny desks. Jace is doing such an amazing job with his schoolwork. He is the most polite young man a teacher could ask for. I smile at Jace, who blushes. That's really good to hear. Not so happy to see the marks on my son's body, though. His eyes never leave my face. I am so sorry about that. I am in talks with the principal as we speak. I'm working on making my classroom a safe place, provided my little comment today doesn't get me fired and pile more stuff onto my shoulders that are barely keeping up. I mumble as my phone lights up with a text from my brother. Chapter 4, Tommaso and Jessa. Okay, this is going to be the last chapter. Maybe. Jace, why don't you go get your shoes on, then sit and color for a little bit while I have a talk with Mrs. Jenkins? Okay, Dad. Don't forget you promised we could go get a new laptop since my mom sold my other one. I didn't forget. That's part of what I want to talk to Mrs. Jenkins about. We both watched as Jace ran to his shoes and put them on. His face lit up when he got to the coloring table. That's always been one of his favorite pastimes. Mr. Maldonado, I want to apologize for my behavior before. I never get mouthy with a parent, even if they do deserve it at times. Mrs. Jenkins, don't even worry about it. As I said before, I appreciate a woman with class who can stand up for herself. Thank you. Normally, I wouldn't let it get to me, but I honestly can't afford to lose my job right now. My family needs help, and even with what I'm making now, my family needs help, and even with what I'm making now, it's just not going to be enough. I don't know why I just told you all that. I watched as she blushed from head to toe. This is special. This is a special woman, a very rare woman. Forget about it. You're fine. Sometimes we all need someone to talk to. The reason I wanted to talk to you is about Alina, Jace's mom. Did you find out why she never showed up to get him after school the other day? Sadly, I did. Alina has been an an on and off alcoholic for a very long time. She occasionally goes on binges for weeks at a time. When we found her, she had also been shooting up. She had track marks from needles on both of her arms. I called her doctor and she has been admitted to rehab. Oh no, poor Jace. Will they be able to help her? They will get her cleaned up and off the booze and drugs. The only thing is, she never stays clean. I've lost count of how many times this has happened. It's part of why we got divorced. Anyway, the judge gave me temporary custody until we can go to court. He also issued a restraining order for Elena to stay away from Jace. If she shows up here trying to get him, please call the police immediately. You don't think she would do anything to hurt him, do you? Jay's such a wonderful boy. When I look at him, he makes me want a child of my own. There she goes, blushing again. Why does she blush so easily? Is she embarrassed because she's still single? Elena knows that Jace means the world to me. If she wants money, she will use him against me. I try to keep her in the lifestyle she was used to when we were married, but she ends up blowing the money on booze and drugs. I'm so sorry you've had to go through this. I feel bad for Jace, his own mother. I can't believe his own mother would use him as a pawn. My eyes will definitely stay peeled. If she shows up here, I will call the police and you. She won't take him out of my classroom. That's a promise I can make to you now. She will have to go through me to get to him, and that's not going to happen. You are a bit of a spitfire, aren't you? When it comes to family, friends, and those I care about, yes. That's part of the reason I let my mouth get away from me before. My brother is in trouble, and there is just no way that any of us can help him this time. If you don't mind me asking, what kind of trouble is he in? Maybe I can help. I know a lot of people. My parents are both disabled, so they have a very limited income. As you know, a teacher's salary isn't a lot. I teach because it's what I love to do. My brother is almost always in trouble, but we've always managed to get him out of it with him swearing it will never happen again. Mom called me last night to tell me that John ripped off one of the local gangs for $8 million. They've given him 2 weeks to come up with $10 million to pay them back, or else the extra $2 million is interest. Damn, that's a lot of money to come up with in 2 weeks. I'm sure you know who I am, or have at least heard rumors. I can't protect your brother, but I might be able to help. That is, if you would be interested in my offer. I watched as the expressions on her face kept changing. It's a long shot, but I'm going to make the offer. It will be good for Jace, plus it will give me a better chance to learn all about the bashful Miss Jenkins. Yes, I know who you are. I know you're the head of the Maldonado family. You're definitely not a man to mess with or double cross. What kind of help could you possibly give us that wouldn't be worse than the gang? I told Jace that he and I together would find a living nanny for him. There is also a little worry about making sure the nanny has teaching credentials so that he can be homeschooled. I know that Jace adores you. You also adore him. I have the money to pay the debt, but I would need two things in return. What could you possibly need from us? That's simple. One, your brother comes to work for me as my chauffeur. He would be living on my property, clothed and fed, plus a minimum salary since I am already paying off his debt. That sounds fair. What is the second one? I want you to be Jace's nanny. You would have the run of the house. I have housekeepers and a cook, butlers and maids. All you would have to do is teach my son and take care of him. I'm away on business a lot. I need someone dependable, someone who cares for him to take care of all of his needs when I'm not home. You would also receive a salary for your work. She opened and closed her mouth several times, trying to get the words to come out. She tried again and actually coughed. I noticed the water cooler near her desk, so I went and got her a glass of water so that she could wet her dry throat. I'm sure if I was in her shoes, my throat would be dry and my mind would be going 90 miles per hour. Mr. M, because I'm screwing that name up, I know. Mr. M, that's a very generous offer, but I don't think I can accept it, at least not until I've talked to my brother and parents. This is a huge decision, and I can't speak for John. He would have to agree to his part on his own. I also need time to think about my part. I would have to quit my job here at the school, and I love my kids. The offer stands. Think about it. Talk to your family. Just remember what's going to happen if John doesn't have the money on time. Let me know a couple of days before the money is due. That will give me time to pull it from a couple of different places. You have a good evening, Ms. Jenkins. Jace, you ready to go get your new laptop? He grabbed his backpack and flew to the door, hollering, "Bye, Mrs. Jenkins!" I stood up. I stood there dumbfounded as I watched the father and son leave my classroom. I don't even know what to think of Mr. M's offer. How do I bring this up to my family? So much for a relaxing evening. It's going to be another crazy, messed up night. Oh, we can do one more chapter. We're going to do one more. Chapter 5, Jessa. The drive home from school had my head in the clouds. I tossed the idea of just giving in and forcing John to become that man's bitch, but I knew it wasn't my decision to make. As I pulled into my house, I noticed a box sitting on my step. I put my car in park and gathered my things before I jumped out of the car and headed to the door, stopping to lift the box up before opening the door. Once I was inside, I dropped everything on the floor and headed to the bathroom, discarding my clothes as I went. Lucky thing I lived alone, or everyone would be getting a show. The hot water from the shower felt amazing. It always felt amazing. But after the day I had, washing away my troubles was perfect. I put on my Scotty dog pajama pants, or as others say, pajama pants, and a white t-shirt before picking up my phone and calling my mom. "Hey, Mom." I smile as she always snorts when I call her that. "Hey, Mama." I smile. Let's see. Let's go back. "Hey, Mama." I smile as she always snorts when I call her that. "Is John home today?" I ask, hoping that he is. With her confirming that he is, I tell her that I am coming over because I have huge news and it may help John. I go over to the stuff on the floor and clean up before I pick up the box and put it on my table before going to the kitchen to grab a knife to open the box. As I finally stop and look at the box, I notice that there is no postal markings on it. This should have alerted me to something. Hell, anything but my mind is so unfocused with that shit at work and John that I cut into the box, then I stand there and stare. There is an envelope on top addressed to John's sister. Not my name, but a title that I have been so ashamed of lately. Under the letter is literally my drawer full of panties all shredded with what looks like drops of ejaculate all over them. I see red and close the box up, taking it with me as I slam out of my house. The drive to my parents was quick as the anger seemed to sit deeper into my skin. Just as I park the car and shut it off, I get a ding saying I have an email. Hoping that it will calm me down just a little bit, I open it. "Dear Mrs. Jenkins, it has been brought to the board's attention that you have been acting unbecoming of an elementary school professional. We expect our teachers to hold a higher standard here at Samuel Jameson Academy, and this latest complaint has us agreeing that you no longer fit into our policies. You do not need to come back to the school. All of your personal belongings, along with your final paycheck, will be sent directly to your home. Sincerely, James Jones, President of the Board at Samuel Jameson Academy." I scream, just fucking great. The one thing I needed the most was just ripped out from underneath me. That's the last straw. I open my door to grab the box and storm into my mom and dad's house demanding to know where my brother is. When they tell me he is in his room, I storm to it and kick open the door. Unfucking believable, you rotten piece of shit! I screech before I dump the cum-filled scraps of my panties on his head. What the? He moans as he uses one of the panties to wipe his eyes. I start to laugh hysterically as my brother blinks, questioning what the hell I had just thrown on him. Those, I suck in a breath, are, I grab my stomach, from your friends, you know, the ones you stole from? Yeah, they broke into my fucking house, shredded every single piece of my panties, and fucking jizzed on them, fuckwad. I finish screaming at him. He goes to open his mouth, but I silence him. I have you a fucking out. The Melodondo family, mafia, is going to absorb your debt to the fucking gang. You must work for Tommaso until your debt is paid in full, and part of the fucking deal that was offered, I have to become his nanny and homeschool his kid, which just so happens to be the only chance at a job I have at the moment, considering your bullshit was so heavy on my mind, I snapped at a pretentious parent and lost my job. I watch his eyes bug out of his head. As soon as I get confirmation from Mr. M, your ass better be fucking ready to work your ass off and to get your fucking shit together, because I am officially done with your bullshit. I turn around and slam into my dad's wheelchair. Sorry, Daddy. I try to stand up and he wraps his arms around me and brings me close. Princess, I'm sorry that this fell into your life. I'm so damn proud of you for being the strong woman that you have become. We will get things right. He whispers and I cry. I cry because I lost my job. I cry because my brother needs help. I cry because my life isn't put together and my dad just told me he was proud of me for having something together that I don't have. Daddy, I don't have anything together. My life is like a rave and I'm losing all control. I sob for hours, curled into my dad's lap. I must have fallen asleep there because the next thing I know, I am being moved from his lap to the couch by my brother. I'm sorry I'm such a fuck up, Jessa. I'll do anything you ask of me. Just please don't hate me, my brother begs. I don't hate you, John. Just get help. Before I fall into a restless sleep that has me dreaming of cum-filled boxes of shredded panties and Tommaso Maldonado. All right, that's it. Because I don't want to go. I don't like going past. That's 5 chapters I read tonight. What do you girls think? It has 23 chapters, just so you know. Some are really short, like page and a half, 2 pages long, and some are longer, like the past couple ones I read. So, you want more? Guess what? Go get it. It's okay, you. Yes. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. All right, ladies. I know it's okay, you. So, what else is it? How much is it? I didn't look at the price. I need to start writing these down when I get them. Yes. You're so welcome, Leah and Miss Julie. Y'all are more than welcome. $0.99. See, ladies, just go buy the freaking book. Just go buy the book. Because you know you're going to want to finish this. And it won't take you any time. Look, I read 5 chapters in 35 minutes. Go buy the book. Maybe buy a cup of coffee for that. Okay, so tomorrow night is On Ice by Trisha Harley McCarthy. It's about hockey player. And I know I got some hockey fans out there. So be here tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. I know I'm a damn tease. And you like me that way too. I'm going to teach your daughter to be a tease. Actually, I don't have to teach your daughter anything. She teaches me stuff. Damn. All right, ladies. Have a good evening. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow night. Be safe out there. I know there's storms all over the place. And I don't even know what's going on up there in Canada where you guys are, Julie. So I know, Julie, it's hockey. That's your thing, isn't it, girl? All righty. Y'all come on back tomorrow night now. You hear? Happy reading.